Let's start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Shaitaraknya Vibhaga Yogaha. We are studying the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And today I'll try to see if we can finish this chapter. Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual text teaching us the essence of our nature. When we understand that we are spiritual beings, then we will realize that there is a spiritual aspect to the entire universe. Our sense organs are designed to see Dvaitam, duality in this world. Right from the morning to evening, when I open my eyes, I see duality, which means I see myself and I see the world of objects and beings. And in this duality, there is a hidden factor. The spiritual side to this duality is the hidden factor. That is the secret which Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna in this chapter. It's very important for us to learn the spiritual side, because in our normal day-to-day living, we all face sorrow and we face fear. These two together is what we call as samsara. Fear and sorrow. However much we try to remove these two things from our life, without a spiritual study, we will not be able to have any success. It is very important from this angle that we try to understand who we are and what is this whole universe is all about. In order to explain the spiritual side, Lord Krishna takes a methodology of using some technical terms in this chapter and explaining to us the real story of this whole universe. Shaitaram and Shaitaraknya, very, very powerful words with very deep meanings. When you hear these two words and go through the 13th chapter for the first time, you will not be able to fathom the depth of these two words. You will get a superficial glimpse of these two words. When you study this again and again, you will realize the depth. The second pair of words is prakrti and purusha. Again, they refer to the same matter and spiritual principles. Jnanam and Jneyam. And in all this, what we understand when we go through this chapter is that ultimate reality of this universe is called as Advaitam principle. Advaitam means non-dual. There is an entity, a reality, which my sense organs will not be able to perceive, but that is the reality which Lord Krishna is trying to reveal. There is one reality, one truth behind this entire universe of experiences. The universe is nothing but the experiences which we get through our 5 sense organs. This experience, for this experience, the life force is called as Purusha or Shaitaraknya. That is the life force behind the entire universe. That same life force exists in my body. That life force is revealing this universe and taking it back into itself in an unmanifest condition. So manifestation of the universe, unmanifestation of the universe is happening in one reality. That reality is called as shaitarakniya, the sakshi, the ultimate reality. Throughout this chapter, we are learning about that one reality. And knowing this reality, Lord Krishna promises us that our sorrow from this life will vanish. Our fear will vanish. A deep study of this chapter is extremely critical if you are a serious spiritual student. This is the essence of all the Upanishads. There is one reality. It is called as the consciousness, awareness principle. This reality is the truth. And that is my real nature. That is what Bhagavad Gita reveals to me. I am a pure being. I can exist without this body, without this mind, and without the universe. Exactly like our experience in our sleep state. I still exist without identification with the body. If this truth is understood, then I can live a life of a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means a free person. The life will still go on for the body and the mind. But then that impact of the life on you will get reduced to such an extent that you will find that you are living in this body with a very, very light mind. Today, in ignorance, when we think that we are the body, we are the mind, we become one with this body and mind, and we don't have any distance between the spiritual side of us and the body or mind. Knowing this Purusha, knowing this Shaitaraknya gives me the distance. I learn to understand that I am someone, something, some entity different than the mind. I am a pure being. That is my nature. The body and the mind is incidentally experienced in the waking state. The mind alone is experienced in the dream state. The waking and the dream is not available in the sleep state, but there is ignorance about my true nature. Bhagavad Gita reveals to me how to remove that ignorance and treat the sleep state, the waking state, and the dream state as the three states of the mind. The three states do not belong to the Atma, it belongs to the mind. If I know this truth, I can claim I am a pure being. If you can claim you are a pure being, you have got moksha, liberation from identification with the body and mind. This is the essence of the 13th chapter. We have studied 29 verses so far out of 35. I will now go to the 30th verse where we stopped last week. Prakrtyaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha yaha pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. Very, very important verse to understand my real nature. What it says in this verse, the essence of this verse is that all the actions, physical, mental, verbal, are performed by nature, which is called as prakrti. This is one side of this verse. And the second side of the verse is, it says that I, the Purusha, I, the shaitarakniya, I am ever actionless. The self, the core awareness principle, does not participate in any action. It is a silent witness to all the actions done in prakrti, in this body, as well as outside the body in the nature. The sun shining, the sun rising, the earth moving, the cosmos, the entire cosmos in a motion, all that, all actions are done by prakrti. This prakrti, made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, will be explained to us in the next chapter. When I say prakrti or nature, what do I mean by it? What I mean is, it is matter principle. I am the awareness consciousness principle, totally different from the matter principle, because matter is inert, jadam. It cannot know anything. A table by itself cannot know anything. I am the conscious being aware of the table. I am the conscious being aware of this body. I am the conscious being aware of my emotions of the mind. That awareness is not connected with any action, but in its presence, all the actions go on. Exactly like in the presence of the sun, we see the entire earth is acting. All actions begin as soon as we all wake up in the morning. When the sun goes down, all actions go back into unmanifest condition. This is the nature. This is the nature of prakrti. Prakrti eva cha karmani. Eva is very important. All actions, good or bad, moral or immoral, are done by the nature. When I say prakrti, it means the five elements together. They do all the actions. Kriyamanani sarvashaha, all actions. And what is this Purusha doing? Purusha or shaitarakniya, it is just awareness principle, consciousness. Pure consciousness is not involved in any action. It remains unaffected. This is a proof. This is a very important verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever a teacher tries to explain the concept of the spiritual side to a student, this particular verse is used. Repeatedly, this verse will come in the Upanishads when they refer to the Atma principle. They will use this verse repeatedly. Bhagavad Gita's very important verse is this verse. Very important verse. Prakrtaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. Sarvasha is very important. So when you are trying to identify yourself in meditation, this particular verse becomes very useful. When we watch our mind in meditation, we should say the mind is prakrti. I am the illuminating or the understanding principle of that mind. Mind is just an impulse, an electrical current in your brain. That's all. But that impulse is illuminated, known by consciousness. With that illumination, the body then sends signals to the organs of action, the legs, the hands. If you want to go and attend a class, it will tell you, come on, let's meet to go to a class. That signal comes from the mind, but the awareness principle behind the mind is very important. If kartrutvam is negated, bhoktrutvam is automatically negated. If I am not a doer of action, then I will not be bothered about any result of action. This is all from the spiritual study. Don't get confused when you're in action in a normal day-to-day circumstances. We are understanding the philosophical side of our living. Karta bhokta is vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. The doership is the vijnanamaya kosha, the intellectual sheath. When we study the Taittiriya Upanishad, this is explained to us in very big detail there. And whenever I say I am enjoyer of the food, I am enjoying the world, I am enjoying something, some ice cream, something in this world. The I refers to the Anandamaya Kosha. That means there is a covering, there is a dress. In this body, there is a covering, and that covering, that body, that Kosha is called as Anandamaya Kosha. In sleep also, the enjoyment I get out of sleep is the same Anandamaya Kosha. This, all the five koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all these five put together is what is called as the Ahamkara, ego I. So what is the right view and what is the wrong view? First, let us try to understand what is the wrong view. We see different doers in this world. There are different jivas. So many jivas are there. And each jiva is getting results. Therefore, there are different bhoktas. That means there are different doers and there are different enjoyers in this world. That is what my physical eye is seeing. My physical eye is not giving me the real picture. Therefore, we say it is not valid from the ultimate truth. What is the right view? The right view is these actions are related to prakrti, and it is a part of the kshetram. Kshetra means the field of actions. The knower of the field of action is shaitaraknya. That knower is one. And that knower, when I say there is the same knower in the entire universe, only one knower is there, then what that knower is given a separate name. It is called as Paramatma or Ishvara. So this jiva in this body, the knower of this emotions and mind in this body, is ultimately equated to the knower of the entire universe. This is how the final picture is projected, and a new vision comes to me. That vision is the spiritual vision, which is of oneness in this world. There is one I behind many minds. This is the eye of wisdom. This is what Bhagavad Gita is supposed to reveal. This is the third eye of Lord Shiva. When in the Puranas, they talk about the third eye of Lord Shiva. He opens his third eyes and then the whole universe comes into picture. He closes the third eye, the entire universe goes into unmanifest condition. In the presence of this shaitarakniya, the knower, the consciousness principle, which is absolute, changeless, it is never changing. That consciousness which was revealing my mind when I was 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 30 years old, and today, it has not changed. My mind changes in the morning. It tells one thing in the morning, it tells afternoon one thing, and the evening it will tell you something different. The body, the cells in the body change. All changes refer to prakrti. The changeless refers to sakshi, the observer. The observer and the prakrti both together is what we call it as Jivatma, Paramatma. So in our waking state, in our dream state, in our sleep state, it is a play of Jivatma and Paramatma. But behind this two, there is one Atma, which is called as the Purusha. A separate name is given, and that is the Uttama Purusha. That is the ultimate reality. The names are given when the worlds are seen. When the waking world through the gross body is experienced, we give it the name Sakshi, Jiva Sakshi, and Ishvara Sakshi. Ishvara is the Sakshi for the world. When we go to sleep, it is the pure being without a name, without we calling it a Sakshi. That pure being remains alone by itself. That pure being is called as Shaitaraknya. So I should learn to remember this shaitarakniya in all the three states, and I should also learn to drop the kshetram from the shaitarakniya and see it as a pure being. When I see the shaitarakniya as a pure being, I am a liberated person. I own up that as my real nature. So the status of I is of three types: with action, without action, and independent. With action, it is with a medium, upadhi. With a gross medium of a gross body, I am called, I the pure being, am called the waker. With the sukshma sharira, the subtle body, I the pure being, am called the dreamer. The dreamer and the waker both are jiva, identified with the bodies. This is with action. The same pure being without action, with reference to the karana shariram, which is the causal body of a jiva, that identification in the sleep state, it is still called jiva. And that is also another facet of the pure being. Then what happens? There is an independent state. That means this jiva has left its jivatvam, and then that is called as sakshi. When I learn to drop, this is only an understanding. You cannot go back to the sleep condition and try to experience and all that. Don't try to do that. This is in the waking state. I understand that I can drop the jivatvam. I can drop intellectually. I will be able to drop the upadhi. Upadhi means the medium. Gross body, subtle body, causal body. I drop the bodies and the experiences. I am merged with the Paramatma, Ishvara. That Ishvara is the universal observer. One observer. Because consciousness is only one. That is what is revealed in the third verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter. There is only one consciousness. That is the oneness which we are all trying to understand. But this is the methodology you must follow. Karta bhokta, the doer and the enjoyer, they rise because of the mind's identification with the field. As soon as the mind wakes up, the karta bhokta comes in. That karta bhokta means I am doer, I'm running to a market. That I running to a market, I working, I studying, I doing kitchen work, I'm doing so many actions. It is all one entity, you should remember. One entity is expressing in so many ways. Like one sunlight can be reflected in so many buckets of water, each having one image of the sun. Similarly, all human beings, all living beings are a reflection of that pure consciousness. So in my vision, there is prakrti and there is purusha. Purusha is also called as Atma. Prakrti, nature, is karta bhokta. Karta means doer, bhokta means enjoyer. Doer of actions gets the result of action. When the result comes, the same doer becomes a bhokta. I have done certain actions. I have studied up to the 10th class, or I have done graduation course. I am the bhokta. I will enjoy the result of passing the exams. In all this, one should remember I am always a sakshi. The real nature of mine is not a karta bhokta. It is always a karta, a bhokta. Non-doer, non-enjoyer. This is a spiritual vision. This is the vision of wisdom. It is not the wisdom, it is not what the vision of our sense organs. The sense organs will not see the spiritual side. It will not see the shaitarakniya. It will not know. The mind by itself will not know. Through the Bhagavad Gita, when I use my intellect, the intellect combined with the verses of the Bhagavad Gita will give me a new insight into myself and an insight into the world of Shaitram and Shaitaraknya, Prakrti and Purusha. And finally, how do I see this Prakrti and Purusha? What is the relationship between the two? The relationship is of adhishtanam and superimposition. The entire waking state is a superimposition on pure consciousness, which is the substrata. Entire waking state. The entire dream state is a superimposition again on this pure consciousness. Entire sleep state is again a superimposition on this consciousness, which is called as Purusha. The three states are coming and going. What doesn't come or go is this pure awareness. Very beautiful verse. The notes are brilliant. Go through these notes. You will have no difficulty, but you need to go through it many times to go deeper and deeper. And when you try to put this knowledge into your own vision, when you sit down quietly and recollect this verse, then what happens is the spiritual vision is not in the book anymore. It is not in the Bhagavad Gita anymore. It is in your heart. In your own heart, you will realize that I am this pure Atma. This Atma is one. It is Sat Chit Ananda Atma. Pure existence, pure consciousness or awareness, which is behind the entire cosmos. It is only one principle. This is a fact of life. Like every day we see sunrise and sunset. That is what the eyes are reporting. But in my intellect, I know the sun never rises, the sun never sets. Similarly, I know I am the spirit, the spirit behind the entire universe. I am the Purusha. I am the Sakshi. The Sakshi is my ultimate nature. The next verse. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekastam anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampandate tadha. This is a continuation of the teaching of the oneness in this entire universe. Lord Krishna is is never tired of repeating this oneness in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Right from the second chapter, every chapter keeps drilling this aspect, this fact to us, that I am there in this creation. You see me, the Lord keeps on telling Arjuna, know me to be your inner nature. Fix your mind on me. Fix your mind on me means this spiritual nature of mind, shaitarakniya. Now, all of you know what is shaitarakniya. How to see this is what we have learned in this chapter. Here, again, the Lord says, when a man sees the whole variety of beings as resting in the one shaitarakniya, one Purusha, and spreading forth from that one is this entire creation. That Purusha is called as Brahman. We will say Sakshi only till you have the Sakshyam, witness with reference to witnessed. When the witnessed world of objects and beings in the waking state, dream state, sleep state. In the sleep state, it is ignorance. In the dream state, it is a dream world. In the waking state, it is a waking world. When the witnessed is not there, this Sakshi is given a new name. That new name is Brahman. Because we are trying to go to the core of our personality. The core of our personality is not the sleep state. It is not the dream state. It is not the waking state. What lies beyond the three states is this Brahman. How does one become Brahman? That is what you will have a question. There are seeming differences in the Kshetram. This is how you try to understand this Brahman. You can become Brahman only by understanding and not by doing anything. Only understanding is required. Understanding the being, the pure being, without any doing, without any knowing, is the secret. Understanding the being which has no knowing and no doing is the secret of the Bhagavad Gita, which is revealed as Brahman in this verse. The wise sees Kshetram and Shaitaraknya. Again, we have to have this vision. If you are able to get this vision, it will not come in the first time when you listen to the Gita. You have to keep reading it again and again. Then slowly what will happen is the mind will start seeing this vision. This vision grows in us. As we grow in spirituality, this vision grows. And a day will come when you will know, oh, Atma is so simple to understand if I really want to understand, because it is telling me my own nature. So all the lessons we have learned in 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita will become so easy for you when you try to put it into your own nature and try to see it in your own self. Kshetram is an appearance. It is a superimposition on the shaitaraknya, on the pure consciousness is the Kshetram. Superimposition is always an appearance. Like what? Like the rope snake. The rope snake is a superimposition. Rope is the truth. Rope snake, which you imagine on the rope, is false. All objects, beings with different bodies is only partial truth. My eyes are telling me there is something in this universe. That's all. It is not giving me the full truth of the universe. Like the rope seen in a dim light. In the dim light, you know there is something, but you don't know that it is a rope. You mistake it as a rope snake. Similarly, in the waking state, that consciousness is there. At the same time, I see so many different dvaita, so many different bodies, so many variety in the waking state. I get confused. But this is only kshetram. It is only an appearance. Behind this experience of this waking state is this shaitaraknya. Therefore, the kshetram is called as adhyastham, superimposition. Eyes are designed to see only differences, the bheda bhava. Bheda bhava means difference between jiva and jiva, jiva and jagat, jiva and Ishvara. I will only know the differences because I have learned to see the world through my sense organs. The Bhagavad Gita teaches me the second side to this chart, the shaitarakniya. When I see the, suppose I take a small rectangular box, glass container, and I put water in it, and I put a spoon in a beaker, you will see that the spoon looks bent. You might have tried this in the science experiments. When there is a water and you put something inside the water and you see through from outside, it will look a little bent. That is called as illusion. That is what is happening to us when we have a vision of the world through our sense organs. We get a vision of the world, but it is a distorted vision. We see a flat earth, but science tells us that the world is not flat, it is round. When you take a picture from the satellite, you will see the round earth. When you take a picture from the moon of the earth, a very beautiful earth appears exactly like the moon. So what the Bhagavad Gita tells us is that kshetram, the field of experience, is duality. It is always will be duality. Even after getting the knowledge, it doesn't mean that you will start seeing only oneness everywhere. No, our eyes will still report the same as per what you are reporting, what you have seen so far of the universe. But you will have a different vision. And that is the shaitaraknya vision, which is the non-dual nature of the reality. Now we have learned that there is a Purusha principle, there is a Shaitaraknya principle, which is one consciousness, one awareness. Ekam eva advitiyam brahma asti. Ekam eva, that means only one Brahman exists. Jagan mithya, that means the world is mithya. The sense organs, what they are reporting is a false world. I now know the truth of this whole universe is this awareness, pure consciousness, pure being. In meditation, each one of you can experience this. When you drop the minds, make the mind silent, and you will realize the truth. You will again at that time bring back this knowledge of shaitaraknya, one pure being. This is called as wisdom. And we have to see this again and again. Anupashyati. Pashyati is once. I see it once, that then in Sanskrit it is called as seeing once. Anupashyati means again and again seeing this oneness of the universe, seeing the oneness of the shaitarakniya, seeing the oneness of the spiritual nature of this world. All waves are nothing but one water. All ornaments are nothing but one gold. All pots are nothing but one clay. The whole universe is nothing but one Brahman. That is the teaching in this 31st verse. So the three steps are, first you see the difference. Know that there is two principles, Kshetram and Shaitaraknya, the seer and seen. Then the second step is what? Know that Shaitaraknya is not a doer. It only does not participate in any action. And all actions, as we saw in the 30th verse, all actions all the time are done by the Kshetram. The Kshetram is the karta principle. Now, step 1 and 2 is not going to give you the final vision. The third step is very important. And what we have to say is, this whole duality which I see of the karta, bhakta, doer, doing, sense organs of action, sense organs of knowledge, the whole world of the 5 sense objects, sounds which I hear, all of them, they resolve into one entity, one indivisible truth. Your experiences of the world resolve into your truth principle, which you are. And my experiences resolve into the truth of myself. The self in you and the self in me is the same one consciousness, where all the experiences get dissolved. Ultimately, there is only one consciousness, one awareness, one Brahman, which is the truth of the entire world. This truth is called as shaitarakniya, the supreme Lord, the infinite reality. Why infinite? Because it is beyond time. There is no time in this reality. In that Brahman, there is no time. It is timeless. It is called as Turiyam in Mandukya Upanishad. Many of you are doing the class on Wednesday also with me. The same Turiyam, the same pure being of the Mandukya Upanishad in this verse is called as Brahman. Same. Ultimate principle is only one consciousness. You call it in different names so that the student is able to understand and clearly discriminate between the pure being and the rest of the world. Brahma Jnana Valli, this is a very important writing of Shankaracharya. In that he gives this statement, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahma Ivan Aparaha. This is the first part of this verse. This verse comes in a text called as Brahma Jnana Valli. This particular sentence is the central theme of all the Upanishads, of the entire Bhagavad Gita and the entire spiritual science. Brahma Satyam. Brahma Satyam means there is only one reality which is called as Brahman. Jagan Mithya. Jagan Mithya means what? The entire 3 states of consciousness, 3 worlds is Mithya. And Jiva is what? It is none other than Brahman. This indweller in this body who is experiencing the world today, you are experiencing a different world, I'm experiencing a different world, but the experiences may be different, The ultimate experiencer is one. I learn to separate that experiencer and merge it with the Ishvara. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This is the Pramanam. Most important sentence which Shankaracharya has written, which reveals the ultimate truth. If somebody asks you, what did Shankaracharya write? What is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita which they want to reveal? This is the sentence. There is one reality behind the entire universe. This Brahman is the reality. It alone is without the three states. Very important. That is the nature of consciousness. There is no why, there is no why it is like that. No, that is the nature of consciousness. The consciousness exists by itself. In its presence, the three states, they come and go. The three bodies, gross, subtle, and causal, they come and go. The five koshas, they come and go. The world is superimposition. When I say world means what? The three states. The world is the three bodies. The world is the five koshas. Anatma. The entire anatma is an appearance like the rope snake. It is just an appearance. The rope snake doesn't have any reality. It is there till I know the truth of the rope. Till I know the truth of Atma, I will take this world as real. After knowing this pure Brahman, the world will still be seen, but in my own pure, in that intellect, I will learn how to drop this world. The beginning of the chapter of the teaching is in the second verse. Very important verse. Shankaracharya has written a huge commentary. For those who are interested in knowing more about this commentary, you can contact me, but it is not an easy commentary. It's a very difficult commentary with a lot of logic, a lot of reasoning, which is, it gives us a little bit more deeper aspect of the teaching. And in this commentary, this is the largest commentary Shankaracharya has written in the entire Gita. This commentary is there, running into several pages. There are talks available on this commentary, but they are not easy talks. You finish the Gita and then you're ready for this talk, not before that. One verse, 20 lectures. I'm covering 35 verses in 12 lectures. Here we are talking about one verse, studying in deeper and deeper and deeper aspect, but all logic, pure logic is used, and 20 talks. This is how deep this text is. The reality given to both Shaitaram and Shaitaraknya is the first stage of the learning, which is called as Adhyaropa. That means I say there is a consciousness principle and there is a world. That is my beginning, which is called as Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa means what? Superimposition state. I superimpose the whole world in the pure consciousness. Then in the second stage, what happens? I negate the world. That stage is called as Apavada. Apavada means I negate the world as false and I own up that pure consciousness as the ultimate teaching. In verse 3rd, chapter 13, the third verse is the end of the teaching. It means, it tells me how I can see I alone am the pure shaitaraknya. And that pure shaitaraknya is the substratum of this body as well as the entire cosmos. It is one observer consciousness principle. These two verses, verse 2 and verse 3, is the essence of the whole 35 verses. Not only of the 35 verses of the 13th chapter, it is the essence of the 700 verses of the entire Bhagavad Gita. I have given again these two verses here just to make it a point to you. Go back to these two verses again and again. Let your mind contemplate on these two verses of the Bhagavad Gita. If you are able to go deeper, you will realize the truth. That is the promise of Lord Krishna. Whoever it may be, just study these two verses. Let it become the understanding in your own intellect, not outside. In your own intellect, meditate on this, contemplate, think about what the Lord is trying to reveal to us. That pure being, which is called as Brahman, we just discussed this in this verse, is the one Lord Krishna. And this Lord Krishna, that Brahman, is not going to go away at any time in any time of the cosmos. That is why Bhagavad Gita is an eternal science. It is the eternal truth. It will always remain, because as long as creation is there, prakrti, purusha will be there, shaitarakniya will be there, many jivas will come and go. They will learn, they will not be happy, they will not be fulfilled with their life. They will try to go towards the truth. When they want to learn the truth, they have to come to this Bhagavad Gita. There is no other way. This is the core. This is the essence of the truth as explained in the entire Vedic study. When you want to learn the Vedas, there are many thousands of people who come to learn the Vedas from all over the world. And they find this gem of wisdom. That is what we have studied in the 13th chapter. Ishavasya Upanishad, Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmaiva Atmana Bhutana Ajanataha Tatra ko mohaha ka shokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. It says that to the knower of this shaitaraknya, to the knower of this self, which is called as Atma, how can he ever be deluded after that? There can be no grief, there can be no sorrow, there can be no fear in him. That is the promise of Ishavasya Upanishad, which tells us that the one who learns to understand this pure being, I am that pure being, in which the whole cosmos rests and it dissolves. Again it comes out, again it dissolves. That is my ultimate understanding. The next verse, Anaditya nirgunatvat paramatma avyayaha sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Lord Krishna is never tired of telling the nature of the Supreme Self. Again and again, he tells us and reveals this pure being. This pure being is never tainted by anything which happens in creation. That is what is the essence of this verse. This pure being has no beginning, because it is timeless. In time, there is a beginning and end. We are all born in time. And the body, the gross body, will have an end. Brahman, the pure being, did not start in time. It will not have any end. It is ever there. What will you tell something which is always there? There is no words to express. All words are only for what we experience in time. Think about it. There is something in this universe which is timeless. I can't describe it because there is no word. That is how the Upanishads reveal this nature of Atma. The first verse of the Mandukya Upanishad says that this pure being is timeless. The same verse is now being repeated in the 32nd verse of the 13th chapter. It says Anadi. Anadi means this pure being is timeless. Because it is timeless, it cannot have any qualities. Anything with quality is an attribute, it is a substance. But this is not a substance. That is why we call it, it is an entity. That's all. That is the only thing we can say. It is reality. It is not a substance. A substance will have attributes. A cloth will have yellow color, red color, and so on. Bodies can be of different colors. But pure consciousness is devoid of any qualities. Nirgunatvad. Nirgunam means attributeless. This is now towards the end. In the next chapter, we are going to see this again. The more deeper understanding of this we'll get in the next chapter. The Supreme Self, Sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. This pure being exists, it resides in this body. At the same time, it does not do anything, and at the same time, it is not tainted by any action which happens in prakrti. What a beautiful verse. So many things are hidden in this one verse. Each word is important. You try to go deeper, you will understand. The more you go deeper into any of these verses, you will reach the final pure being. Take the verses, go deep into it, you will realize the words open up, they reveal to you the pure being. Shaitaraknya is beginningless, indestructible. It is called as Paramatma when you take it as the total seer. This aham means what? Aham is the same seer, consciousness. It is not far, it is not close. We can say far or close with reference to the physical body, but not the self. The self is, there is no upadhi for it. There is no medium. It is mediumless. Therefore, it is not, we will have to tell ourselves, I am that self. We have to own that self as our real nature. Then we are liberated. Liberated means what? Not identified with the body and mind as our real nature. We don't see Paramatma as that. We feel Paramatma as one's own self. We avoid all distances. Yet Shakta, et Sakshat Aparokshat Brahman. Aparokshat means I own that Brahman, that pure being as my real nature. This is the powerful, pure nature of Atma. It's got all the energy. It is omniscient, omnipotent. It has got everything in it. Kshetram, the field, arrives and resolves. I see it. Again, I don't experience it in sleep. Again, I see it in waking. Again, it disappears. Again, I see it. Again, it disappears. Like the dream. The dream appears, disappears. Appears, disappears. The whole waking appears, disappears. So is this the truth? No. What is appearing and disappearing is not the truth. In what does it appear? It appears in consciousness. That consciousness, I am. So when you say I am means this in Sanskrit, this kshetram. Anything with reference to, whenever we refer to anything as this, it cannot be I. This body, this car, this tree, this mobile, that clock, all this is this. This mind. When you say this mind is a problem, this mind, when I say it is anatma. I am not the mind. I am the seer of the mind. I am the consciousness principle. Destruction is of two types, dharmi and dharma. A property is called as dharma, fragrance of a flower. Color of a flower is the dharma. The dharma can go. Dharmi means what? The substance. The flower fades. The substance itself vanishes. The color and the fragrance is dharma. Dharmi is the substance. Paramatma, or the awareness principle, is not a substance. It is not an object. Therefore, we say it is not born. All substances come into existence and go out of existence. Awareness is always there. It does not come in time. It does not go in time. Existence consciousness is the substratum. Therefore, it exists all the time. We call it imperishable, aksharam. This awareness is not a property of the body like the color is a property of a flower. But consciousness, which is there in this body, is not a property. It is an independent entity. It is the substratum in which all objects and beings appear and disappear. That is what I was trying to explain before. That consciousness is always there, eternally there. And when I say I am that consciousness, you are opening up the eternal nature, which is beyond time. Your fear of death will vanish. When you just say, I am that pure consciousness, no more fear, because the body will go. Okay, the body was born, it will go. It is the nature of the body to be born. It is the nature of the body to go. But I am not that. The moment you say, I am not that, it is the nature of the mind to come and disturb me for some time. It goes away. I am not the mind. I am not the body. For existence to be destroyed, it must become non-existent. But Atma is always existent. Ultimate reduction of an object is up to the existence part. That existence is Paramatma. The Swarupa means the nature, is Nirgunam, Sat Swarupam. There is no up and down. Swarupa means it is the ultimate nature. My ultimate nature is consciousness. The sugarness is the ultimate nature of sugar. Hotness is the nature of fire. So similarly, consciousness is my ultimate nature and it is indestructible. Whereas dharma is a property. Today I may have black hair. Tomorrow the hair might turn brown. It may turn silver. But that is the property of the body. Similarly, karta, bhakta, I am active in the morning. I go to sleep. I am not no more active. So this doer and enjoyer is only an incidental nature of this body which is being experienced by consciousness. It is not the permanent nature. The permanent nature is consciousness. Incidental nature should be left as incidental. The water is hot after boiling. It is not the intrinsic nature of the water to remain hot. Similarly, the body has doership and enjoyership. The real nature is not this doership and enjoyership, but the real nature is what? Awareness. This is how I understand pure nature, pure being. Consciousness appears in the world because of adhyasa, superimposition. Like a crystal appears blue, a pure white crystal, when you put it in front of a blue flower or a lily or any red rose, it will appear blue or red or white. Now, shaitarakniya is a reflection in the body, mind and world. It is not locked up in the shariram or in the prapancha. It is not limited by the body or the world. I am the one who am confused. I take this myself to be this body. I learn through this chapter that I am not the body, I am the awareness. Then what happens? I own the shaitarakniya, I own the pure awareness as my real nature. And whatever I have done in the past, doing, writing, hearing, seeing, running, eating, smelling, thinking, waking, dreaming, sleeping, all these actions belong to the body, belong to the prakrti, the kshetra. Whereas the shaitarakniya, the observer, consciousness, has no limitation of time or space. Atma Bodha gives us a very nice example of how we get deluded when the moon is there in the sky and the clouds are covering it and the clouds are moving fast. The moon is there and the clouds are moving fast. You might have experienced this on any full moon day. You just look out of a window, you will see the clouds moving, and then it appears as if the moon is running very fast. So to the non-discriminating mind, you will say, oh, the moon is running very fast. A child will see the moon and say, oh, today, Mama, the moon is running very fast. Where is it going? But a mother will say, the moon is not running. It is the clouds which are moving fast. Observe carefully, you will see the clouds moving and the moon stationary. Similarly, Shankaracharya in Atma Bodha says, Atma never moves. It is the body and the mind, the sense organs are moving. Especially the thoughts in your mind are moving. You identify not with the thoughts, but in the consciousness in which the thoughts are appearing, you will realize Atma. So moon and shaitarakniya you can know with the help of this example. Shaitarakniya is untouched, unaffected by any action. Why shaitarakniya is not affected? Because it is not a kartar bhakta. That is what we have seen in this. That is what we have seen in this moon example. In the 33rd verse, Yatha sarvagatam sokshmyat akasham nopalipyate sarvatra vastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. In the two verses, we are going to see na karoti na lipyate. Atma is not the doer, it is not tainted. It is that 32nd verse is being expanded in two other verses. So two reasons why shaitarakniya, the pure awareness, is not a doer. Like the akasha. Akasha is one example in this verse. Yatha sarvagatam sokshmya akasham nopalipyate. Space is one. In that space, there are so many things which exist, but nothing touches space. Space is not affected by the foul air. The foul air comes and goes. The fragrant flowers are there, but the air is affected, not the space. The space is not affected if the house is dirty. The space is not affected if the jug of water, in the water, if the water is dirty, the space in the jug is not affected. So Saukshmyat means, why is this Atma not affected? Because Atma is Sukshmam. Akasha is subtle in nature. Therefore, it is Asanga. Space itself, we know, is relationless. It does not have any connection with any object. What to talk of Atma, which is the cause of space? In Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, from Atma, space comes. From space, air comes. From air, fire comes. From fire, water comes. From water, earth comes. This is the meaning of that Taittiriya Upanishad. That is what is being brought out in the 33rd verse. This is just a logic to explain why Atma, see, our human mind needs some reasoning. With the help of reason, we will be able to understand and own up and keep this, abide in this knowledge. Otherwise, what happens is this knowledge will just come and go. But when the intellect has the knowledge on one side, and then through contemplation, it churns that knowledge inside. Like many students, they do the churning inside, and then they come and ask me questions. Many students who are listening to these sessions all over, they come and ask me questions again and again. What it means is they are churning in their mind the thoughts and the lessons which they have learned. And when you churn this process is called as mananam. And when you do mananam, this churning happens, doubts will come in the mind. And the doubts, when it is cleared, then you see, oh my God, this is the truth, so easy. So first listen to the truth, then let the reflection go inside your mind, and then finally see the truth. Remove your doubts, see the truth. The 34th verse, Yatha prakashayat ekaha krishnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha krishnam prakashayati bharata. Just as the one sun illumines the whole universe, one Paramatma Shaitaraknya illumines all the fields in all the minds of the human beings. Ultimately, the world is experienced by each one of us in our own mind. Behind that mind, illumining that mind, is this shaitarakniya. It makes all the objects of the world known in the mind of a jiva. Outside, you see a sun illumines the whole world. The sun is never affected by anything which happens. Everywhere it is exists. This awareness principle is like space. That is what was seen in the 33rd verse. That Atma, it is everywhere. At the same time, it illumines. It is a illumining principle. Everywhere means Sat principle, existence. Pure existence, Sat, is all pervading. That is in the 33rd verse. 34th verse, it is Chit principle. And this Sat and Chit is not different, it is one. Anytime anybody sees the world, it is because of this pure consciousness. Same thing is coming from Kathopanishad. This mantra, very important mantra, it's the same example taken up. Just as the sun, the eye of the whole world is not contaminated by the defects of the external eye. Suppose I have a cataract, I won't be able to see the sun. When I don't see the sun, it doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. When I don't see the Atma in sleep, it doesn't mean Atma doesn't exist. It only means that my mind is sleeping, that's all. So similarly, Kathopanishad says that Atma is not contaminated with any sorrow which you face in the world. At any time you face a sorrow, you always say, my mind is sorrowful. That's all. When you say, my mind is sorrowful, not to others, you tell yourself, my mind is sorrowful today. What will happen is, you are creating a distance between Atma and the mind. This will be a great relieving factor. You are not owning up that sorrow, you are keeping a distance. It belongs to the mind. I am the illuminator of the mind. I am not at all affected. The sunlight falling in a ditch or a dirty ground, the sunlight is not affected. It is only a reflection of the sunlight. Similarly, in my thought, the reflection of mind is there in every thought. That is natural phenomena of this universe. Whenever the mind is sorrowful, Atma will reveal that sorrow. That is the nature of prakrti. It gets illumined whenever it is illumined by consciousness. Illuminator remains untouched ever. Kshetram is illumined by shaitarakniya, but yet it remains unchanging and unaffected. The nature of Atma is like the space. Because it is like space, we call it unconnected, asangaha, relationless. Atma doesn't have any relationship with any mind, with any body. The body has a relationship with another body, because the body has given birth to another body. You have a relation to your son, your daughter, because you are related with reference to the body. He is also Atma, I am also Atma. From the Atma level, we are all one. That is the lesson which I learned in the Bhagavad Gita. Prakasha Sarupa Atma, that is the 34th verse which we have seen now. It is untouched, it is the illuminator of all the entire bodies and minds. So even when they are illuminating, it remains untouched. Kshetram is the body, it is the karta and bhakta. This is the difference. This is how you should differentiate between awareness, which is called as shaitarakniya, and the body and mind, which is the world, which is called as shaitara. I am the shaitarakniya, untouched illuminator of the entire cosmos, is the ultimate teaching of 13th chapter. In consciousness, the world appears and disappears, manifests and unmanifests. Remember these two words. They will take you a long way in understanding the Atma. That is manifestation, unmanifestation. Waking state manifests, goes into unmanifest. Dream state manifests, goes into unmanifest. The sleep state manifests, goes into unmanifest. But Atma is the illuminator of the three states. Shaitaraknyorevam antaram jnanu chakshushaha bhuta prakrti moksham cha evaduryanta te param. The one who knows the distinction between the field and the knower of the field, he is the one who is liberated from the prakrti, from the nature. And he goes to the supreme. Param. There is no doubt. Because ultimately the nature of God is consciousness, awareness. Who is a liberated person? The one who has thoroughly internalized, assimilated the vision of this chapter, the spiritual vision. It is not the physical vision which the eyes are seeing. It is the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called as Jnana Chakshu, the Vedic wisdom. Time immemorial, it's been coming and it's been existing since the very creation of the universe. Now you have a new vision, a new eye, the spiritual eye, because of the Shastra Upadesha. Whatever I have spoken in all these 12 sessions, this is the 12th session, this is the 14th session. I've taken 14 sessions of chapter 13. Whatever I have spoken is all the words of the scriptures. And these words are revealing the nature to me. My own nature, the words reveal. That is why it is called as Shabda Pramanam. Chakshu, that means the eyes are a source of knowledge. But the words of the scriptures are an equal source of knowledge. I give the both the sources, I treat them equal. Whether the Shastra is teaching me or I see it with my physical eyes, both are the same because they reveal the nature. One reveals the world, the body, mind, and the world. Another reveals only the world. What should I see? It depends on me, whether I'm Kshetram or Shaitaraknya. If I'm Kshetram, I see many. Jadam. Jadam means inert, destructible, with modifications, which is called as Anatma. And as Atma, I see one consciousness, indestructible, without any modifications. We are all bhutas. Bhutas means panchabhutas. Your body is made up of 5 elements. My body is made up of 5 elements. And we are all identified with these 5 elements as prakrti. But this chapter has given us a new method how I can own up something which is not the 5 elements. Nirupadikam, through the method of adhyaropa and apavada, I learned to differentiate the matter and the consciousness principle. Those who see this will get the ultimate. That is the promise given by Lord Krishna in the last verse of this chapter. Yaha pashyati, saha pashyati, etat vaitat. This is the truth. Etat vaitat. This is the truth of Bhagavad Gita. It is the truth of the Upanishads. All the Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, they all talk of the same truth. And the Bhagavad Gita talks of the same. I've given some references where the same truth is explained. I will just take another 5 minutes today extra to finish up this. Om Brahma Vida Apnoti Param Tadesham Yuktam Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Soshnute Sarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipaschiteti. This one Brahman is the ultimate truth. This is from Taittiriya Upanishad. In Mundaka Upanishad, it says, the one who knows this Brahman, in his family, everybody will become a jnani soon. The whole family, he says, because one learns it, they will pass on this knowledge to others. Those who know themselves to be shaitarakniya, they know the methodology to be free from sorrow and be happy. And when you do this, you are called as Jivan Mukta. It means that you are free and liberated from prakrti. Prakrti means 5 elements. Because you have known the truth behind the 5 elements is the spirit, the consciousness, the awareness. Just to remind, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanatva Darshanam Etak Jnana Vidhi Proktam Ajnanam Yadanyonyatha. We have seen this in the 12th verse. The one who has this self-knowledge, he is the one who removes the ignorance. Because knowledge and ignorance are opposing, like darkness and light. Self-knowledge is important. We remember that the body is prakrti. It does all the actions, but I am the Purusha, Shaitaraknya, Akarta, Abhokta. 2 words you remember. I am not a doer, I am not the enjoyer. Sukha Dukha belongs to the mind, which is Kshetram. We have seen what the mind is. Ichha Dvesha Sukham Dukkham Sangatesh Chetana Dhritihi Etak Kshetram Samasena Savikara Mudahrutan. It is the mind which changes into thoughts of desire, hatred, pleasure, pain. But I am the pure consciousness which is illuminating the mind. When the sorrow comes into your mind, deliberately tell your mind, it belongs to Kshetram, it belongs to the body and mind, not to me, the Shaitaraknya. This deliberate saying in your own mind will help you to remain and abide as Atma. The real Atma, the Chaitanya Sarupam, which is the illuminating factor, the light of all lights, the light behind the sun is there in your own heart, behind your own intellect. That is the Ishvara in our hearts. Learn to see that Ishvara principle in our hearts and be free. When you're writing a notes, when you say it is Kshetram, not me, in your own mind. Keep on remembering that Kshetra is Ahamkara, the ego. That Kshetram is being experienced by that ego I. But I am the pure awareness behind that ego. Differentiate yourself from the activities and experience the Kshetram by the Ahamkara. Ahamkara means what? Reflected consciousness and mind. We live a life of freedom after knowing this 13th chapter. But what we have to remember is practice and practice this every day, daily. Tell yourself, I am the shaitarakniya, I am the Atma, I am the Atma, I am the pure being. Reminding yourself of your own nature will help you one day to say to yourself, I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am the pure being. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Kshetra Kshetra Vibhaga Yogo Nama Trayadashothyayah. This is the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, titled Kshetra Kshetraknya Vibhagaha, and it is the essence of the Upanishads given out by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, and that is what I have learned so far in my spiritual journey. This is the toughest chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. With God's blessings, we have gone through it verse by verse. Let's be all blessed with the Lord always, with a clear understanding of this chapter. Let us revise again and again till this knowledge becomes our own knowledge, our own nature. I have given in the end some of the summaries of the qualities which we have studied from verse 8 to 12. This is just for you to brush up, revise the 20 qualities. Then what is the nature of Brahman, the 13th to 18th verse, which is the important section. What is the nature which is mentioned there? I've given in the appendix here. There are 23 different indicators of that awareness principle. These two are the essence of this entire 13th chapter. You have got brilliant notes in this 13th chapter. That is what we have learned. When you revise again, you will be able to understand the same notes and the same mantras more deeper, because you have all listened to it once. Listening makes a huge difference. Then what will happen is revision. Next week, these are just some of the important verses. With this, I will close. And next week, we will start the 14th chapter, called as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, any questions from anybody? If anybody has a question, you can ask me now. You can just unmute yourself and you can ask if you have any questions.
Sir, vanakkam.
Yeah. Tell me, Ramesh.
Sir, I just wanted to understand this. While you were in this subject of this dharmi and dharma,
Yes.
there you had mentioned, I didn't understand this. You said for existence to be destroyed, it must become non-existent. And then ultimate reduction of an object is up to existence. That existence is Paramatma. I just didn't understand this. For existence to be destroyed, it must be non-existent. If you could please.
Yeah, you see, what it means is that the body and mind is existing today, and it gets destroyed. That means the body gets destroyed. But then what we say in the Shastra is that the form gets destroyed and it is not the existence which is a part of the form. Existence means what? It is always there.
Consciousness.
Consciousness. So everything in creation, when it gets destroyed, it means that only the name and form goes. That means Ramesh as a name and form goes, but Ramesh as the consciousness never leaves. It is always there. So up to the existence, you can say yes, the name, basically what it means is name and form. Name and form goes away, but pure consciousness or existence will always be there. Sat and Chit will never be destroyed. Consciousness can never be destroyed. Because it can never be destroyed, you can say, I am immortal. After this knowledge, after getting this knowledge, you can say, I am immortal because I know now I am consciousness. Don't take myself as this body. That's all. Spiritually, we are all imperishable. We don't die. The body dies. The body takes another body. Okay, let it take. But I am not that body. Even in this birth, I am not this body. That is the teaching of Lord Krishna.
Okay. Then when it says that the ultimate reduction of an object is up to existence and existence is Paramatma, which
Yes.
means that Paramatma, there is no reduction there.
Correct. In Paramatma, there is no reduction.
There's
That
no
means
reduction.
name and form goes away, but what remains is existence.
Existence. Got it, sir.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this lovely discourse on this chapter 13. It was
Yeah.
truly,
Have you understood? You have got some glimpse of the Atma now?
absolutely, sir. Absolutely. And I have already started beginning from chapter 13 to rejig my thoughts. I think I've got the essence of it, but no, it just needs to click.
Yes, no problem. I'm very happy because you see, this is a tough chapter, but you know, I'm very happy I have taken it verse by verse, and I'm sure you know you will be able to. I'm sure every one of you have got the gist.
Well, we need to make some effort to cross the most toughest thing to get the easiest thing which is there.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Akshay, can we get such a nice notes? Please do share in our group. These notes have already been shared many times. Have you got it through the email or WhatsApp?
I think it's on the Google Drive, so the first one which you said,
everything is there.
because I think the entire chapter 13 is covered in that thing, because
Yes.
you don't need to send it every week.
Yeah.
Because now I think next time when you start chapter 14, you will send us the new one, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we've got that. Akshay, it is there. Just check on the Google Drive.
Fine.
Yeah, Akshay, I have not changed the notes at all. I have kept the same notes for the whole teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. So
Okay.
you
On
will.
Vedanta student link, I can get, no?
Yeah, you can get it. But I have already circulated this through the email. Are you in the email group or not?
Yeah, I'm there, but I missed it maybe, yeah.
Okay, you go through the email. If you don't have it, you send me an email. I will send you the link.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Anybody else has any other question?
Secretary Om.
Yeah, Hariom, but yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I think the class was beautiful actually. One, I think, I was just looking at those some technical words you have mentioned on the last slide, or the 35th verse, at the end of it.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know whether you are able to present it again. There, I think I just noticed that one is the Sopadikam, another one is the Adhyaropa, another one is Apavada, and there was one more, I think Nir or something was there, right?
Yeah, Nirgunam.
Nirgunam, okay.
Nirupadikam or Nirgunam.
Nirupadikam, okay.
Yeah, Nirupadikam. Sopadikam means with the Upadi. Upadi means medium of the body. Sopadikam means it is with the medium of body and mind. Nirupadikam means without the body and mind. Upadi means medium.
Okay.
So Sopadikam, Nirupadikam. This is one. The next is Adhyaropa Apavada. Adhyaropa means superimposition. That means I superimpose the body and mind on Atma. That is what I learn. That is what I'm doing in my waking state. Apavada means negation. In the sleep state, what do? I drop the body and mind. So through this method of apavada and adhyaropa, the Upanishad or the Bhagavad Gita is teaching me how to own that pure awareness.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to refresh that. I have heard these words.
Yeah, these two
Yeah,
words.
Father,
Yeah.
I was remembering, but the other one I forgot. Thanks for reminding it.
Yeah. So this is the procedure, the method by which the Upanishads reveal Atma. Superimposition and the substratum. Adhyaropa apavada. That means I learn to superimpose, I learn to negate. And both are done only mentally. In my own mind, I learn to see. In the waking state, I learn to see. I do the adhyaropa. That means I learn in my own mind. I say, who am I in my sleep? I am the pure Atma. In that pure Atma, what am I doing? In the waking state, I'm putting the dress of the body and mind. And then what happens? I go to sleep. When I go to sleep, what happens? I'm doing apavada. I'm doing negation of the body and mind in the sleep state. But I am not this adhyaropa apavada. I am the pure awareness in which all this is happening.
Okay.
Good.
One more question. In the slide of where you have listed down the nature of Brahman, surprisingly, I saw that there was point number 12, which was saying it wasn't moving. I was a little surprised when I read that.
Yes, not moving means achalana.
Moving is there,
Huh?
but unmoving is one point was there.
Yes.
But there was another point immediately after that. It was saying it was moving. So I was a little surprised when I saw that.
Moving and unmoving. You see, what happens is we say it is moving and unmoving with reference to the body and the mind. You see, the consciousness is moving with reference to the body, unmoving when it is in the sleep state.
No, but this point was you listed it as part of the nature of Brahman.
Yes.
If you bring up that slide, which you listed out, I think all the properties of Brahman, right?
Yes.
So in that, I think point number 12, that is what I saw.
Yes.
That you listed it as just beside the unmoving, you put it as a moving.
Existing within and without all bodies. You see, it exists within the body and also without the bodies. Okay, that is number 10. Then it says it is unmoving and it is moving. That means you can see it as moving, you can see it as unmoving.
Okay.
You see, you have to see both. You see, all this, it is supporting all. Number 7 is it supports all.
Okay.
It supports moving, it supports unmoving.
Okay.
It is far, it is near.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what is called as adhyaropa.
Okay.
When you say Brahman is nirgunam, then you are using apavada.
Okay. Understood.
You're clear, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll close for the day and then we'll start next week and the new chapter number 14. Yes,
Sir,
Ramesh?
one thing I wanted to say, this adhyastam and adhyaropa, they are the same, right? The superimposition?
Yes, yes. Adhyastam and Adhyaropa is the same.
They are the same. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, one question I want to ask you is, would you prefer me to go through each verse like how I did for verse chapter 13, or you want me to just give you a summary of chapter 14 and 15?
Shekharji, I will say yes, because I think I have seen that that is also one of the most interesting and the toughest chapter.
Yes.
I think let us go through that. Probably, I think the 15 also, right?
Yeah, I wanted to do the other two chapters verse wise, but I thought let me see the interest in the group. If you feel that it is too long and is taking too much time, I can finish up in one or two talks and move forward, you know.
My
Sir, we
preference
are
is
blessed.
to go through it. I think you can opt
We are
for
blessed.
decide it.
So we
Yeah,
are
Ramesh?
blessed to have you as our guru and a teacher to tell this. If you have the time, we have all the time, sir.
Okay, fine. All right, then I'll take it as a verse by verse. Can you please clarify the analogy of sun, its reflection in many buckets for one Atman in many bodies? Yeah. Yeah, Uma, I have seen verse by verse you prefer. Akshay, you also saying verse by verse. Okay, I think there's most of the people like this verse by verse. Okay, so I will go through both 14 and 15. These two are important chapters to understand the real subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. So let's go through that. And then 16, 17, 18. Those three chapters, I will be doing only a summary. Okay, those are not so relevant, not so important, especially once you have done the 14th chapter, the 17th and the 18th chapter are fairly easy because you will know the three gunas and then you can understand the 18th chapter much more easier. So 14 and 15, I will do verse wise. 16, 17, 18 will be a summary. Now, regarding the question of Akshay about the analogy of sun and reflection, it's a very often repeated example in the Upanishads. After this Gita, if there is interest, I will do some Upanishads. So, what this example says is, this example is used mainly to prove 2 points. First, let us see the example. The example is what? There is a sun, bright sun, and you keep, say, 10 buckets of water in your outside your house. When you keep those buckets of water, and what will happen is the sun gets reflected in the water. And you will be able to see the reflection of the sun in the water. Like you see the reflection of your own face in a mirror, the water surface is like a mirror. Now, this is the example: reflected sun and originals. Same thing is happening between now let us take the Atma example. That is the Drishtanta. Now the Ashtanta is the actual. What happens in reality is the Atma is there like the sun. And the reflection of that Atma is there in the mind. All our minds are exactly like the water. They are like the water. It can take a reflection of that sunlight. Similarly, our mind can take the reflection of the Atma, the light of Atma. The entire energy of Atma, the life force which is there, the universal life, it comes into each one of us when we wake up in the morning. In the sleep state, there is that is lying as an inert nature. The mind is inert. It is in a passive condition. In the waking state, what happens is that mind is like the water. It gets the reflection. It, like the water gets a reflection of the sunlight, this mind gets the reflection of Atma, the awareness, the consciousness. And then what happens? The mind then that becomes active. And the active mind then gives all the energy to the sense organs. And the sense organs, they light up the external universe. This is the process in which every day this is happening to billions of people. But they are not aware of this. There is a light of consciousness, people don't know. But through the study, I come to know. So the example is used mainly to show that like the water which can reflect the sun, the mind can reflect the consciousness, the light of consciousness. Then the second lesson is, whatever happens to the mind, whatever happens, suppose you throw a stone in that bucket. What happens is the water will tremble. It will get disturbed. Then what happens? That reflection also trembles. Because the water is trembling, that reflection trembles. So same thing happens in our mind. Whenever there is a disturbance in the mind, like the water, gets disturbed because the outer situations are not so good. But what do I feel? I feel I am disturbed because I take myself as the reflected consciousness. I am not the reflected consciousness. I am the pure consciousness, which is what I am in my sleep state. Again, I remember, when I'm facing the disturbances, let this knowledge come to me. Remember this knowledge. I am the pure awareness, not the disturbed state of the mind, in which there is a reflection. I cannot drop experiencing this disturbed state as the state of mind in the waking state. I cannot change that. But by knowledge, I can know I am not this. That is what we have to learn. This is the deeper meaning of this exam. So Akshay, have you understood both?
Yes, yes. But sir, sun is somewhere there. It is there only. But
Yes.
Atma is all pervading, right? So how can I understand this?
No, this is just an example. Don't take the example too far. You see, don't try to put new conditions of the example and try to compare. The example, you should take it only up to this stage, only for knowing these two things. That's all. Don't try to bring other features of the example and try to say, no, the example is faulty. No, that way you can never have any example then. Learn from the example the points which I have explained to you. There could be other things which are there. You can say the sun is very far, the Atma, this is all different aspects of the example and the what we are trying to say. Is it clear?
Okay, fine. Thanks.
Take whatever is required for the example. The lesson from the example we should take. Like you see, the lesson is reflection. Reflection is happening or not? Yes. Whether it is far, whether it is near, whether it is all pervading, it doesn't make a difference. But reflection happens. If it is all pervading, yes, it is all pervading, no doubt. But then that all pervading nature is not known to me in the sleep state. Why it is not known? Because of the mind. The mind reflection becomes passive, becomes unmanifest, and therefore all pervading nature is not known. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll say goodbye for today and then we'll see next week. We'll start the 14th chapter. Thank you and good night.
Namo Narayana.
Okay,
Hari.
thank you.
Thank you, Shekhar ji. Good night.
Thank you, Oma. Thank you.